My mom demanded I give her my house because she raised me and I owe her everything. So when she tried to move in without asking, I changed the locks. Now she's living with my golden child brother in his basement. My mom tried to move her furniture into my house while I was at work, and when I got home, she was screaming at the locksmith I'd called to change my locks that I was stealing from family. I bought my house 2 years ago, saved for 6 years, worked overtime, lived with roommates in a shitty apartment to make it happen. It's a small 3-bedroom ranch, nothing fancy, but it's mine. My mom didn't contribute a single dollar. Didn't even come to the closing because she said she didn't want to waste gas on something that wasn't a real celebration. Last month she showed up unannounced and walked through every room like she was doing an inspection. Kept saying things like, "This would make a great craft room for me, and I always wanted a house with a real backyard." I laughed it off because I thought she was joking. She wasn't joking. 2 weeks ago she called and said, "I'm moving in next month, so start clearing out the guest room." Just like that. Not asking, telling. I said, "What? No, this is my house." She said, "Don't be selfish. I raised you for 18 years, fed you, clothed you. You owe me. Besides, I'm getting older and I shouldn't have to pay rent anymore when my daughter has a whole house." She's 56. She works full-time as an office manager. She's not elderly or struggling, she just doesn't want to pay her apartment rent anymore. I told her no, flat out no, she couldn't just move into my house. She hung up on me. Then my brother started texting. My golden child brother who still lives in her basement at 33 and has her pay half his car payment. He sent me paragraphs about how I was ungrateful and selfish and mom sacrificed everything for us. I ignored him. I figured that was the end of it. Yesterday I came home from work at 5:30 and there was a budget moving truck in my driveway. My mom was directing 2 guys carrying her couch up my front walkway. She'd made copies of my house key from the spare I'd given her for emergencies. I lost it. I ran up and said, "What the hell are you doing?" She smiled at me, actually smiled. "Moving in, sweetheart. I told you I was coming. Now help these men with my dresser, it's heavy." I told the movers to stop. They looked confused. One of them said, "Ma'am, we're paid through the day." "I don't care," I said. "This is my house. I didn't authorize this. Put everything back in the truck." My mom's face went red. "You can't do this to me. I'm your mother. And this is my house that I bought with my money. You're not moving in." She started screaming, called me a bitch, said I was spiteful and cruel, said she should have left me in that adoption agency when she had the chance. She said this before when she's mad. I'm not adopted. She just says it to hurt me. The movers put her stuff back in the truck and left. She stood in my driveway yelling at me for 20 minutes. The neighbors came out to watch. That's when I called a locksmith, got an emergency appointment for that evening. My mom was still there when he showed up, sitting on my porch steps like she was staging a protest. When she realized what was happening, she started screaming at him. "That's my daughter's house, and I have a right to be here." The locksmith looked at me. I showed him my ID and the property deed I keep in my filing cabinet. He changed the locks while my mom cried on the lawn and called me an ungrateful snake. She finally left around 9 p.m. Didn't take the spare key out of her purse, just threw it at my front door and peeled out of my driveway. Now she's staying with my brother, in his basement, in the same house where she still pays his bills and does his laundry. He's been sending me essays about how I destroyed mom's life, and I'm a selfish monster who deserves to rot alone. My aunt called yesterday and said I should apologize, that my mom is heartbroken and just wanted to be close to family, that I could have at least let her stay a few months while she figured things out. I haven't responded to anyone. My mom sent me a text this morning that said, "I hope you enjoy that house because you'll never see me again. You made your choice." But here's the thing, I feel guilty. She did raise me. She did work 2 jobs when I was a kid after my dad left. And now she's sleeping on a futon in my brother's basement while I have 2 empty bedrooms. Am I wrong? My brother showed up at my office yesterday and made such a scene that security had to remove him from the building. I was in a meeting with my supervisor when the receptionist called. She sounded nervous. "There's a man here demanding to see you. He says he's your brother and he's not leaving until you come out." I could hear him yelling in the background, something about family loyalty and how I destroyed our mother's life. I excused myself and went to the lobby. He was pacing near the front desk, red-faced and sweating. The receptionist had her hand near the phone. 2 other coworkers were standing by the elevators, staring. "You need to fix this," he said the second he saw me, didn't even lower his voice. "Mom is falling apart. She cries every single day. She can't eat, she can't sleep. This is your fault." I kept my voice calm. We're not doing this here, you need to leave. No, he crossed his arms. Not until you agree to let her move in. She's your mother. She gave you everything and you threw her away like garbage. She tried to move into my house without permission. She made copies of my key and hired movers. That's not okay. She's family. You're supposed to take care of family. One of my coworkers, a woman named Patricia who sits 2 cubicles down from me, walked over. Is everything all right? She was looking at my brother like he might be dangerous. Mind your own business, he snapped at her. That's when I was done. You have 10 seconds to leave or I'm calling security. He laughed, actually laughed. You're going to have your own brother arrested? Jesus Christ, you really are a selfish bitch. I called security. He didn't move, just stood there with this smug expression like he thought I was bluffing. 2 guards came up from the basement within 3 minutes. They asked him to leave twice. He refused. They took him by the arms and walked him out while he screamed about how I was dead to him and I'd regret this. My supervisor pulled me aside after, asked if I was safe, if I needed to file a police report. I said no. I thought that would be the end of it. It wasn't. That night my phone started blowing up. My aunt, my uncle, my mom's best friend from work, even my cousin who I haven't spoken to in 5 years, all of them with the same message. I was cruel. I was heartless. How could I treat my mother this way after everything she'd done for me? My mom's best friend left me a voicemail. Your mother is sleeping on a futon in a basement with no windows. She has to share a bathroom with your brother. She's lost 12 pounds because she's too depressed to eat. I don't know how you sleep at night knowing what you've done to her. 12 pounds? In 2 weeks. I almost believed it until I remembered my mom has lied about her weight my entire life. Then my mom herself called. I shouldn't have answered, but I did. I'm sick, she said. Her voice was weak, shaky. I went to the doctor today. My blood pressure is through the roof. The doctor said I'm at risk for a stroke. He asked about my living situation, and when I told him what you did to me, he said the stress you've caused could kill me. Do you want me to die? Is that what you want? I didn't say anything. I could have a stroke and die in your brother's basement, and it will be your fault. You'll have to live with that for the rest of your life. I'm your mother. I gave birth to you. I raised you alone after your father left, and this is how you repay me. I hung up. My hands were shaking so hard I dropped my phone. Here's the thing, my dad didn't leave. My mom kicked him out when I was 7 because she found out he'd been talking to a lawyer about custody. She told everyone he abandoned us. She's been playing the victim my entire life. The calls kept coming. I blocked my brother. I blocked my aunt. I blocked my mom's best friend. Every time I blocked one number, someone new would call. Yesterday, my mom tried a different approach. She sent me a Facebook message. It was a photo of the futon in my brother's basement. It looked exactly like what it was, a dingy, unfinished basement with concrete floors and exposed pipes. The futon had a thin blanket and one flat pillow. The caption said, "This is where your mother sleeps now. I hope you're happy." I deactivated my Facebook account. Then this morning I got an email from my mom from an address I didn't recognize. The subject line said, "Please read this." The email was long. She said she was sorry for trying to move in without asking. She said she should have handled it differently. She said she was desperate and scared about getting older and being alone. She said she forgave me for overreacting, and if I just apologized and invited her to stay for a few months, we could move past this as a family. She said my brother's basement flooded last night, and now her clothes are ruined and she has nowhere else to go. She said she's looked at apartments, but everything is too expensive and she can't afford first and last month's rent plus deposit. She said I'm her only option. The email ended with, "I know you have a good heart. I know you'll do the right thing. I'm your mother and I need you. Please don't let me be homeless." I haven't responded. I don't know what to do. Part of me feels like maybe I should just let her stay for a month or two, just until she finds something affordable. But another part of me knows that if I let her in, she'll never leave. She'll find excuse after excuse and I'll be stuck with her forever. My coworkers have been asking if I'm okay. I've been crying in the bathroom at work. I can't focus. I keep thinking about that photo of the futon, about her saying she might have a stroke, about the flooded basement. But I also keep thinking about her face when those movers were carrying her couch up my walkway. How she smiled at me. How she wasn't asking, she was taking. How she called me a bitch in front of my neighbors and told me she wished she'd given me up for adoption. I don't know if I'm being strong or if I'm being cruel. Everyone in my family thinks I'm a monster. Maybe they're right. My mom showed up at my house at 2 a.m. last night with a U-Haul truck and started unloading her stuff onto my lawn. I woke up to my phone ringing. It was my neighbor across the street, the retired cop who's lived there for 20 years. "Hey, there's someone moving furniture onto your property. Thought you should know." I looked out my bedroom window and saw the truck. Saw my mom and my brother carrying boxes up from the street. Saw her couch sitting in the middle of my front yard. I called the police. I didn't yell out the window. I didn't go outside. I just called 911 and said someone was trespassing on my property and I wanted them removed. The dispatcher asked if I was in danger. I said no, but they were refusing to leave and I wanted officers to come make them leave. She said someone would be there within 15 minutes. I stayed inside and watched through the window. My mom kept unloading. She had a lamp, 3 garbage bags full of clothes, a bookshelf. My brother was helping her arrange everything on the lawn like they were setting up for a yard sale. The police showed up in 12 minutes. 2 officers. They got out and talked to my mom. I couldn't hear what they were saying, but I saw her pointing at my house, gesturing wildly. One of the officers walked up to my front door and knocked. I opened it, showed him my ID and the property deed again. Explained that my mother was trying to move in without permission, and I'd already told her no multiple times. He asked if she had a key. I said no, I'd changed the locks. He asked if I wanted to press charges for trespassing. I hesitated. He must have seen it on my face because he said, "You don't have to decide right now, but we can remove her from the property." I said yes, remove her. The officers went back to my mom. The conversation got heated fast. She started crying, telling them I was her daughter and she had nowhere else to go, that I was forcing her to live in a basement, that she'd raised me and I owed her. One of the officers said something I couldn't hear. My mom's face went red. She started screaming. "This is my daughter's house. I have a right to be here. She can't just abandon me." The officer said something else. My brother stepped forward, got in his face. The officer put his hand on his belt. My brother backed up but kept yelling. They gave my mom 10 minutes to reload the truck. She refused, just sat down on the couch in my yard and crossed her arms like a toddler. That's when the officer told her she could either move her belongings voluntarily or they could arrest her for trespassing and have the truck towed. Her choice. My brother started reloading. He was slamming things into the truck, cursing loud enough that I could hear him through my closed window. My mom stayed on the couch crying until the very end. Then she got up, walked to my front door, and started pounding on it. "You're going to regret this," she screamed. "You're going to end up old and alone and nobody will care about you. I hope you die in this house by yourself." The officer told her to get in the truck. She spit on my doorstep before she left. I didn't sleep the rest of the night. I kept getting up to check the windows, make sure she wasn't coming back. This morning, I got a call from my job's HR department. Someone had filed a complaint about me. A formal complaint saying I was creating a hostile work environment and harassing a coworker's family member. I had no idea what they were talking about until the HR rep explained. My brother had called my workplace and claimed I was stalking his mother, that I'd threatened her, that I'd stolen her belongings and left her homeless. The HR rep said she had to follow up on all complaints, but after reviewing the security footage from when my brother showed up last week, she didn't believe his claims. She said I wasn't in any trouble, but she wanted to make me aware in case he tried anything else. I thanked her, hung up, sat in my car in the parking garage and cried for 20 minutes. When I got to my desk, there were 3 emails from my mom. Different email addresses, all new. The first one said, "You've made your choice. Don't come crying to me when you need help." The second said, "I'm contacting a lawyer about elder abuse." The third was just a photo. It was her sleeping on that futon in my brother's basement. Someone had taken it from above, probably my brother. She looked small and sad and pathetic. I blocked all 3 addresses. My aunt called during lunch. I answered because I thought maybe she was calling to check on me. She wasn't. "Your mother is having chest pains," she said. "She thinks she's having a heart attack. We're taking her to the ER right now. If something happens to her, it's on you. I hope you can live with yourself." I didn't say anything, just hung up. 20 minutes later, my mom posted on Facebook. I saw it because my coworker showed me. She'd reactivated my account and tagged me in the post. The post said, "Some children are so selfish they'd rather see their own mother die than share what they have. I'm in the emergency room right now because my daughter's cruelty has literally broken my heart. Pray for me." The comments were exactly what you'd expect. People I haven't talked to in years telling me I'm disgusting, telling me to be ashamed, saying they'd never treat their mother this way. I deactivated my account again, for good this time. My mom wasn't having a heart attack. I know because my aunt called back 2 hours later and said the doctor told her it was anxiety and stress. That my mom's heart is fine, but the doctor is concerned about her mental state. He wants to know about her living situation, my aunt said. I had to tell him she's homeless because of you. She's not homeless, she's staying with my brother. In a basement with black mold, she can barely breathe down there. That's not my problem. My aunt was quiet for a second, then she said, you know what, you're right, it's not your problem, because you're not her daughter anymore. She's done with you, we're all done with you. She hung up. I should feel relieved, I should feel free, but instead I feel sick. I keep thinking about her on my lawn at 2 a.m., about her screaming at the police, about that photo of her on the futon. Part of me keeps wondering if I should have just said yes, let her stay for a month, would it really have been that bad? But I know the answer. It would never be a month, it would be forever. And I'd spend the rest of my life trapped in my own house with someone who thinks I owe her everything just for being born. I don't know if I did the right thing. Everyone I'm related to thinks I'm a monster. Maybe I am. My mom filed a police report claiming I stole her belongings, and she's trying to get a warrant to search my house. I found out because a detective called me yesterday afternoon. He said he needed to ask me some questions about a theft complaint. I thought it was a scam call at first, until he gave me his badge number and told me to call the station directly to verify. I called, it was real. He asked if I could come in to give a statement. I said I wanted a lawyer first. He said that was my right, but it would look better if I cooperated voluntarily. I told him I'd call him back. I spent 2 hours on the phone trying to find a lawyer I could afford. Finally got a consultation with someone who does family law. She listened to everything and said my mom doesn't have a case, but I should still come in with representation just to be safe. She charged me $300 for an hour of her time to sit in a police station while I answered questions. The detective was polite, asked me to explain the situation. I told him about my mom trying to move in, about the movers, about changing my locks, about her showing up at 2 a.m. with the U-Haul. He asked if I had any of my mother's property in my house. I said no. He asked if I'd taken anything from her apartment or from my brother's house. I said no. Then he showed me the list my mom had filed. 42 items. A TV, a microwave, a vacuum cleaner, jewelry, photo albums, kitchen supplies, furniture, clothes. She claimed I'd stolen all of it when she tried to move in. Said I'd locked her out and kept her belongings. I told him I'd never had any of those things, that everything she tried to bring to my house went back in the truck, that the police were there and saw the whole thing. He nodded, wrote something down. Then he said, your mother also claims you've been harassing her, threatening her. She showed me text messages. I felt my stomach drop. I haven't texted her in weeks, I blocked her number. He pulled out his phone and showed me screenshots. Messages from my number, except they weren't from me. You're a pathetic excuse for a mother, I hope you suffer. Don't ever contact me again, or I'll make you regret it. You deserve everything that's happening to you. I stared at them, I didn't send these. They're from your number. I don't know how, but I didn't send them. Someone must have spoofed my number or, I don't know, but that's not me. My lawyer jumped in, asked to see the messages more closely. The detective pulled up the screenshots on his laptop. My lawyer pointed out that the messages all came through at times when I was at work, when I could prove I was in meetings or on calls with timestamps. The detective asked if anyone else had access to my phone. I said no. Then I stopped. My mom had my phone for about 10 minutes once, 6 months ago when hers died and she needed to make a call. Could she have done something then? Installed something? I told the detective that. He didn't look convinced. He said he'd look into it, but in the meantime, my mom was requesting a protective order. She claimed she feared for her safety, that I was unstable and violent. My lawyer said that was ridiculous, that I had witnesses and police reports proving my mom was the one showing up at my property uninvited. The detective said he was just telling me what was filed, that a judge would decide. I left the station feeling like I was going to throw up. $300 for a lawyer, and I still don't know if I'm going to end up with a restraining order against me for things I didn't do. When I got home, there was an envelope taped to my door. No stamp, no return address. Someone had hand-delivered it. Inside was a letter from my mom, handwritten on notebook paper. You've forced me to take legal action. I didn't want it to come to this, but you've left me no choice. I'm sick. I'm suffering. I have nothing because of you. The police will find out the truth. Everyone will know what kind of person you really are. You can still fix this. Let me come home and I'll drop everything. This is your last chance. I took a photo of it and sent it to my lawyer. She said to keep it as evidence but don't respond. I'm not responding, but I'm terrified. Today at work, my supervisor called me into her office. Someone had filed another complaint, this time claiming I'd been stealing from the company, that I'd been falsifying expense reports and taking supplies home. My supervisor said she knew it wasn't true, that she'd reviewed my records personally and everything was clean. But she had to put me on administrative leave while they investigated. Paid leave, she stressed, not a suspension, just a precaution. I asked who filed the complaint. She said she couldn't tell me, but I already knew. My brother has a friend who works in accounting. I've seen them together at the company holiday party. It had to be him. I'm home now. It's 3 p.m. on a Tuesday, and I'm sitting in my house that I worked 6 years to afford, on administrative leave from a job I've never stolen from, waiting to see if I'm going to get a restraining order filed against me by my own mother for harassment I didn't commit. My phone keeps buzzing. Unknown numbers. I'm not answering. Could be my family. Could be reporters. My mom probably called the local news and told them I'm abusing her. Could be anyone. I keep checking the windows, waiting for her to show up again, waiting for my brother, waiting for the police to come back with questions I don't have answers to. My neighbor, the retired cop, came over this morning. He said if I needed anything, call him, that he's been watching my house and he knows something's not right with my family. He said he'd testify if it came to that, about what he saw that night with the U-Haul. I thanked him, almost cried right there on his doorstep. I don't know what's going to happen next. My lawyer said the protective order hearing is in 5 days. She said we have a strong case, but judges can be unpredictable with family matters. 5 days. And in the meantime, I'm just supposed to sit here and wait while my mom tries to destroy my life because I wouldn't let her steal my house. The protective order hearing lasted 4 hours, and my mom committed perjury 3 times before the judge finally had enough. My lawyer tore her apart. Every single lie, every fake text message, every exaggerated claim about her health, all of it came out in open court. The judge asked my mom directly if she had proof I'd stolen her belongings. She said the proof was that I wouldn't let her into my house to get them. The judge asked why her belongings would be in my house if she'd never lived there. My mom stammered, said she'd stored things there. The judge asked when. My mom said 2 years ago. My lawyer pulled out the property records showing I'd only owned the house for 2 years and 3 months, asked my mom to specify exactly when she'd stored items there. My mom couldn't answer. Then my lawyer brought up the police report from the night with the U-Haul. The officers had written that all of my mom's belongings were loaded back into the truck, that nothing remained on the property. The judge read it, looked at my mom, asked her to explain the discrepancy. My mom said the officers were lying, that they'd helped me hide her things. The judge's expression changed. He asked if she was accusing 2 police officers of filing a false report and participating in theft. My mom said yes. That's when my lawyer brought up my neighbor, the retired cop. He was there in the courtroom and he testified about everything he'd seen. The 2 a.m. arrival, my mom screaming at the officers, her refusal to leave. He had photos he'd taken from his security camera showing the truck being reloaded with all her furniture still visible. My mom called him a liar too. The judge wasn't having it. He denied her protective order request. Then he did something I didn't expect. He asked my mom if she understood that filing false reports and committing perjury were criminal offenses. She said she hadn't lied about anything. He said based on the evidence presented, he was referring the matter to the district attorney's office for review. That making false statements under oath is a serious crime. My mom's face went white. My brother started yelling from the gallery, called the judge biased, called me a manipulator. The bailiff removed him from the courtroom. After the hearing, my lawyer told me the DA probably wouldn't press charges, but the referral would be on record. That if my mom tried this again, it would destroy any credibility she had left. I walked out of that courthouse and sat in my car for 30 minutes. Just sat there, didn't cry, didn't call anyone, just breathed. The investigation at my work cleared me in 2 days. Turned out my brother's friend in accounting had fabricated the complaint using details he'd made up entirely. He got fired. My brother blamed me for that too, sent me an email saying I'd ruined an innocent person's life. I forwarded it to my lawyer and blocked him. My supervisor apologized for the administrative leave, said she'd never doubted me but had to follow protocol. I told her I understood. She gave me an extra personal day to recover. The fake text messages were harder to track. My lawyer helped me file a police report about the harassment and potential phone spoofing. The detective who'd questioned me actually apologized. Said he'd been doing his job, but it was clear now that my mom had either faked the screenshots or had someone send them and delete them from my phone remotely. Without cooperation from my mom, there wasn't much they could do. But it's documented. I changed my phone number, didn't give it to anyone in my family. My mom tried one more thing. She hired a lawyer and sent me a demand letter. It claimed I owed her $50,000 for pain and suffering and emotional distress caused by my unlawful actions. The letter said if I didn't pay within 30 days, she'd file a civil suit. My lawyer sent back a response detailing every false claim my mom had made, every instance of her trespassing on my property, and a threat to countersue for harassment if she continued. We never heard back. That was 6 weeks ago. I haven't spoken to anyone in my family since. My aunt stopped calling. My uncle blocked me on social media, but I don't care. My cousin sent one last message telling me I'd torn the family apart. I didn't respond. My brother still lives in his basement with our mom. I know because my lawyer's paralegal did a property search to see if my mom had got her own place. She hasn't. She's still there. I heard through a former coworker who knows my aunt that my mom tells everyone I stole her life savings and left her destitute. That I'm cruel and heartless, and she's the victim. People who don't know the truth probably believe her. I don't care anymore. Last week I got an email from my dad, the one my mom claimed abandoned us. The one she kicked out when I was 7. He'd heard through some mutual acquaintance about what happened. Said he'd tried to maintain a relationship with me, but my mom had made it impossible. That she'd told him if he ever contacted me, she'd call the police and claim he was stalking us. He lives 2 states away, has a wife and 2 kids I've never met. He asked if I wanted to meet for coffee sometime. Said he understood if I said no, but he wanted me to know he never stopped thinking about me. I haven't responded yet. I don't know if I will. My house is quiet now. No one shows up uninvited. No one pounds on my door at 2 a.m. I had a security system installed with cameras. My retired cop neighbor checks on me sometimes, brings me tomatoes from his garden. I still look out the window more than I should. Still check my locks twice before bed. Still feel a spike of anxiety when I see a U-Haul truck. But it's my house, my space, my life. I paid for every square foot of it. I chose every paint color. I planted every flower in the front yard, and nobody can take that from me because I didn't give them my family's love. Because that's what my mom wanted, not to live with me, to own me, to control me, to make me feel like I owed her everything I'd ever earned. She wanted me to believe that saying no made me the villain. But I'm not the villain. I'm just someone who refused to set herself on fire to keep someone else warm. My mom is still in that basement, still playing victim, still probably telling everyone who will listen that I destroyed her life. And maybe some people believe her, maybe they think I'm terrible. But I wake up every morning in my own house, in my own bed, with my own life. And she wakes up on a futon in a basement because she tried to steal what wasn't hers and faced actual consequences for the first time in her life. I don't feel guilty anymore. I feel tired, and sad, and relieved. Mostly relieved.